Digital transformation represents a unique and timely opportunity for your company, and Azure is a great partner to enable digital transformation for your company. The elements of digital transformation are employees, customers, products, and operations. To do that, we need to look at how these elements connect together to create the digital feedback loop. You could have had this conversation with Henry Ford 100 years ago. These are the sort of things that are not unique in business. What's different now is that technology is binding these things together, and you're able to do things in a different manner. So, what do we mean by the digital feedback loop? First of all of these facets, customers, operations, products, and employees, they're sending off data. So, in the case of employees, that could be Yammer, for example, or emails coming back from the audience giving feedback on what features are needed. On the product side, that could be things like telemetry. What are people using? How are people using it? And this is really interesting because prior to the digital revolution, people probably didn't really have an innate sense of how people were using their products, like what features are being used, how often are they being used? Operations, things like supply chain. What's coming off of a manufacturing line? Where are things bogging down? Where are there bottlenecks? And then social sentiment. That's a good example of the sort of feedback that's coming in this digital world. Then, in the center of the feedback loop, we have this ability to collect the data and apply intelligence to it. This is one of those key differences between now and 100 years ago, 10 years ago, and even just 5 years ago. You can bring in this social sentiment. You can bring in the telemetry from products. You can bring in feedback from employees in your manufacturing line. And with data warehousing, the ability to apply intelligence to all this data is really transformational. And then obviously there's a human component, the ability to rationalize that data and make decisions. And that's when you would push out actions back into that environment. It could be updating the supply chain. It could be responding to requests on social media. It could be better training for employees. And in the product sense, think about the journey that Microsoft has been on as a company. Office has moved from a 3-year ship cycle to now customers can provide us a feature need and our engineers can make that change and update the product in months. We can use Tesla as a simple demonstration example of the digital feedback loop. Take the Tesla connected car, where they pushed out updates to the autonomous driving feature and they were getting telemetry back from the product as well as social signal saying that the braking was a little bit too harsh. Tesla could see both the product and social sentiment. They took that intelligence. They applied a fix. They pushed it back out to the car. A good example of the pace of change and how a digital company is using the feedback loop.